The death row confession that vanished in Georgia. They killed the wrong man, and they knew it. That's the line that kicked off a leaked voicemail in 2021, sent anonymously to a local Georgia journalist. It referred to Davonte Ray Sanders, a 26-year-old black man executed by lethal injection in 2017, convicted for a brutal double murder he had always claimed he didn't commit. The tape wasn't from an activist. It wasn't from a family member. It was from a prison chaplain, someone who had been inside the death chamber that night, and what he claimed changed everything. But to understand the storm behind Davonte Sanders' death, we need to go back to the summer of 2009. On July 13, 2009, Macon, Georgia, at approximately 3:47 a.m., two white college students, Emily Carson and Brian Whitaker, were found shot dead in their Toyota Corolla on a remote service road behind the University of Georgia campus. They had been carjacked. Brian was slumped over the wheel, shot twice in the back. Emily had been dragged several feet from the car, assaulted, then executed. The crime stunned the state. Two upper-middle-class white students from respected families. A city already struggling with race relations was on fire overnight. The Macon police, under immense pressure, launched a manhunt with only one clue: a single cracked Samsung phone found a few feet from the scene. Within 48 hours, a suspect was arrested, Davonte Sanders, a part-time grocery clerk with a juvenile record and a broken public defender. The phone allegedly belonged to him. Davonte was 19 at the time. He had no money, no alibi, and crucially, no ability to explain how his prints ended up on the phone. Prosecutors argued he had dropped it while fleeing. Witnesses claimed he had bragged about getting even with rich kids. A jailhouse snitch said Davonte confessed to him over lunch. That was it. No weapon, no blood on his clothes, no surveillance footage placing him at the scene. But the jury, all white. The trial, 5 days. The verdict, guilty on all counts, sentenced to death by lethal injection. Appeals denied. Executed on February 6, 2017. Except, there were problems from the start. The phone, for one. Years later, tech forensic specialist Dr. Lena Vasquez reviewed the original data. The phone SIM card was still active 48 hours after Davonte had been arrested, and it had pinged 3 miles from the county jail. Someone was using it. The snitch, Jerome "Smokey" Bennett, later recanted. He admitted in a letter that detectives promised him early parole if he helped the case. Then came Chloe Carson, Emily's younger sister. In a 2020 podcast interview, she admitted that before the trial, her family was pressured by the DA not to speak to media or defense lawyers. She claimed her father had doubts, that he didn't believe Davonte was guilty, but was told, "You don't want your daughter dragged through the dirt, do you?" That podcast got 10 million downloads, but no legal action. Back to the voicemail, the one that changed everything. The voice belonged to Reverend Sam Holbrook, a prison chaplain at the Jackson County Correctional Facility. He didn't do it. I saw the letter. I read it. His cellmate left a confession. They shredded it. According to Holbrook, 1 month before Davonte's execution, another inmate, Nathaniel Cormick, a white man doing life without parole for robbery, allegedly wrote a handwritten letter confessing to the Carson Whitaker murders. Holbrook claimed Davonte showed him the letter, begged him to take it to the parole board. Cormick had once worked as campus maintenance at UGA. He had access to the exact service road. He had also been arrested for stalking Emily Carson months earlier. Charges dropped due to lack of evidence. None of this made it into trial. Holbrook said he turned over the letter to a senior warden. The next day, he was told to forget about it. When he asked again, he was reassigned to kitchen duty, then to isolation counseling. Then his retirement was fast-tracked. No letter ever surfaced. Cormick denied everything, but Holbrook never let it go. By 2023, the story had resurfaced. National outlets picked it up. Hashtags flooded Twitter. But the Georgia Attorney General's office refused to reopen the case, citing lack of credible new evidence. The governor called it a tragedy, but stood by the verdict. the original DA, promoted to circuit judge, and Devontae's mother, Marie Sanders, still lives in the same one-bedroom apartment she did when her son was arrested. Her walls are covered in his drawings, portraits he made on prison paper with pencil stubs. "I watched my baby die for something he didn't do," she told an independent journalist in 2022. "I watched them inject him with poison while they looked away, like they were putting down a dog." But Holbrook? He isn't done. In an unreleased documentary scheduled for this year, he claims he has copies, smuggled versions of the confession letter he made before handing over the original. If true, it could be the biggest judicial scandal in Georgia in the last 50 years. But the question remains, why would the state kill a man they suspected might be innocent? And the darker question, did they know all along and just not care? Reverend Sam Holbrook was never a man who sought attention. A soft-spoken chaplain with 22 years in the Georgia Department of Corrections, he had guided dozens of condemned men through their final hours. He buried his pain in scripture and silence. That changed after Devontae Sanders' execution. When Holbrook left the voicemail claiming Devontae was innocent, he thought anyone would take up the cause. He didn't expect to become the story. But what he did next turned a quiet scandal into a statewide firestorm. On October 2023, the letter surfaces the documentary crew working on The Vanishing Truth met Holbrook at a safe house in North Carolina. There, inside a locked box, was a photocopy of a yellowed letter. For pages, handwritten. Signed and dated, Nathaniel Cormick, August 4th, 2016. The confession was chilling in detail. "I didn't know the girl was with anyone. I saw her walking to the car. I just wanted her to remember me. But she screamed. The guy came at me. Panicked. I shot him. Then her. I dragged her because I couldn't let her live after that. I thought I'd never get caught. But now he's gonna die for me. I can't sleep. I can't breathe. I want out of my head." It included details never released to the public. That Emily's necklace was broken and missing. That Brian had his shoelaces tied together. That one bullet misfired. All later confirmed through forensic records obtained via a whistleblower in the DA's office. Holbrook's claim? He photocopied it in the prison chapel late at night. He feared the letter would be destroyed, and he was right. 3 weeks later, he turned over the original to Warden Frank Dorsey, expecting it to go up the chain. It never did. Investigators, now independent and crowdfunded, uncovered a disturbing pattern. Nathaniel Cormick had a history of escalating violence, but his charges were often mysteriously dropped. 2010, stalked a coworker. No charges filed. 2011, bar fight. Broken jaw. Plea deal. 2012, caught following Emily Carson on campus. Misunderstanding, said police. Case dismissed. 2013, accused of attempted assault on a jogger. Victim's statement vanished. No follow-up. Even more damning. Cormick was arrested just days after the Carson Whitaker murders for an unrelated robbery 10 minutes from the crime scene. The arrest report showed he had cuts on his hands and a silver necklace in his pocket. Never matched to anyone. Somehow, that charge was pled down, and no one ever connected him to the double homicide. Until now. So why frame Devontae? Race, class, pressure. Devontae was a poor black teen with a juvie record, living in a part of Macon that police unofficially dubbed Dead Zone. He didn't have the means for a private attorney. He didn't even see the forensic evidence until 4 days before trial. The prosecution, led by District Attorney Cheryl Wexler, built a narrative around resentment and rage. "A boy with a chip on his shoulder," she said in her closing argument, "who wanted payback on a world that overlooked him." But Wexler was running for state attorney general that year. She needed a win, and she got one. She now holds a top office in Georgia. She has yet to comment. After Holbrook's documentary aired in January 2024, he disappeared. Literally. His house was found empty. His phone disconnected. A neighbor claimed he saw 2 men in suits take Holbrook into a black SUV. No law enforcement agency has admitted to detaining him. A week later, The documentary's director received a flash drive in the mail with no return address. It contained audio of Holbrook reading Cormac's letter, a prison visitor log from August 2016 showing a meeting between D.A. Wexler and Cormac, a visit never disclosed, a scanned memo with the words, "Do not submit. Let him ride." All three items have been verified as authentic by independent labs. And suddenly, public opinion shifted. Georgia in crisis, the governor ordered a review, but not of the conviction, just the leak. Protesters erupted in Atlanta. Civil rights lawyers filed a wrongful execution lawsuit against the state. But then came the most unbelievable part. Cormac was found dead in his cell. March 9, 2024. Official cause: suicide by hanging. But fellow inmates said he had no access to ropes or belts. His neck had bruises inconsistent with hanging. And the guards didn't see anything. In April 2024, a bipartisan group of senators introduced the Devonte Act, aimed at mandating full evidence review and third-party oversight before any execution. But for Marie Sanders, none of it matters. "They took my boy, and now they want to act sorry?" she told CNN. "They can burn every law book in Georgia, and it won't bring him back. Still no justice, no one has been indicted. No DA removed. No judge reprimanded. No public apology." Cormac's letter sits in a cloud folder hosted by the documentary team, downloaded over 5 million times. His confession lives on, but no one has paid for what was done to Devonte. The state of Georgia insists the case is closed, but the people, they're just getting started.